Hi K1, it's Teacher Trisha. I hope you all had a chance to watch the first video that I made about adding with pictures. Today we're going to do something a little bit different, still working with addition, but our learning target for today is that we are going to add two numbers using a number line. Alright, so you might be wondering what a number line is, and if you guys can think back to at school on our name tags, at the very bottom when it had all of the numbers listed out, that's a number line. It's just a line that shows you what numbers come next and what numbers came before. So since we don't have our handy dandy name tags, we're going to have to make our own number lines. They're pretty easy to make, but I'm going to show you how to do it now. First, you need a piece of paper. And I chose a thicker dark marker, so I'm just using a Sharpie, but you can use whatever you have at home. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw just a straight line across my paper. It's okay if it's not perfectly straight. You can see that mine's a little wobbly too. At each end of my number line, I need to make an arrow. This tells us that there are more numbers going in both directions. And then the first number I'm going to put on, I'm going to draw a little line, and I'm going to write my number underneath of it. I'm starting my number line at 0. Okay? And then let's count up together. We're just going to write every number that comes next. So the next number after 0 is 1. I'm going to leave a little bit of space. I might use my finger to help me make it even. Leave some space, make another line, and then I have 1. Use my finger, leave some space, 2, and I'm going to keep going. For today, I just need my number line to go up to 10. You could make your number line go up higher if you have more room, but I also am out of room, so I'm going to stop at 10. All right, now that we have our number line, I think we're ready to get started. Yesterday we were doing some addition using pictures, and today we're going to use our number line to do it instead. If we can remind ourselves, what is this sign called? If you know, you could say it out loud now. That's right, it's an addition sign or a plus sign, sometimes we call it. This means that we are adding two things together. The other sign that we have to remember is the equal sign. That looks like two straight lines, and it tells us what the answer to a problem is. All right, so we're ready to get started. I invited my friend Frank to come help with our math lesson today. Can you guys say hi to Frank? Hi, everybody. All right, and you might be wondering, how is Frank gonna help us today? Since we're using a number line, we're gonna have to be taking some jumps on our number line. And what are frogs really good at doing? You're right, jumping. So Frank is going to help us with our jumps today. If I look at my first question, I can see it says number 1, and I'm going to read my number sentence out loud. So I have 3 plus 2 equals Okay, so something that's a little bit different when we do our number lines is that I want to look at my number sentence and I'm going to find the bigger number. So if I'm looking at 3 and 2, I need to circle my bigger number. And that is 3. So I'm going to circle it on this paper, and I'm actually going to look for it on our number line. I'm going to circle it on my number line too. So here's 3, okay? And when I look at my other number, this tells me how many jumps I'm going to take, okay? So remember, Frank is gonna help us with our jumps. He needs to take 2 jumps. So I'm gonna put Frank at number 3, or at 3, because that's where we're starting, and he needs to take 2 jumps. When he takes a jump, I'm going to draw it onto our number line too. Okay, here we go. Oops. Here's Frank. He's going to take 1 jump over and then 2 jumps. Okay, so I can count my jumps too. I can see them on my number line. Here's 1 jump, and here's my 2nd jump. And Frank stopped at number 5. Okay, so I know that 3 plus 2 equals 5. And now we're ready for our second one. I'm going to take Frank off. Even though I wrote on this, I can still use the same number line. If it makes it easier, you can use a different color pencil. So I might switch out my pencil so it's a little easier to tell which question we are working on. So I'm going to read my sentence again. I have 4 plus 5 equals Okay, so again, I'm going to look for my bigger number. I'm going to look to see, is 4 bigger or is 5 bigger? 5 is bigger, so I'm going to circle it here. I'm going to find it on our number line. Here's 5. I'm using red this time. Okay, and Frank is going to sit on our starting number, just to help us remember. And then our other number tells us how many jumps we're going to take, how many more we want to put together. Okay, so I have 5, and I'm going to take 4 jumps. So we're going to count together. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to bring us a little closer so we can see. I had started on 5, which was my bigger number, and then I made 1 jump, 2 jumps, 3 jumps, and this was my 4th jump. Okay, so I know Frank landed on number 9. So my answer of 4 plus 5 equals 9. Okay. All right, we have 2 questions left, and I need your help with them. So I'm going to look at number 3. Can you read this number sentence for me? Nice job. So I'm going to look to see, the first thing I need to do is, what's the first thing I need to do? You're right, I need to find the bigger number. Okay, so if I look at 2 and 6, my bigger number is, nope, it's 6. So I'm going to circle it here. Okay, I'm going to find it on my number line. I'm also going to circle it. And then I'm going to look to see how many hops or how many jumps Frank needs to take. He needs to take 2 jumps. So let's put Frank at number 6, and we're going to take 2 jumps together. Here we go. 1, 2. So if I bring us a little closer, can see that I started at 6 and I made 2 jumps and I ended on 8. So I know the answer to my question, 2 plus 6 equals 8. Thanks for your help. We've got one more to go. Here's number 4. So remember, I'm going to read my number sentence. Okay, so if you have someone with you watching this video, you can read the number sentence to them. If it's just you, you can read it to me in the video. Okay, here we go. Great job. Now that we've read it, the first thing I need to do is, can you say it a little bit louder? That's right, I need to circle my bigger number. So if I'm looking, my bigger number is 5. I'm going to circle 5 here. I'm going to switch the color of my colored pencil so it's a little easier to see on the number line. 5 was my bigger number, so I'm going to find 5 on my number line. I'm going to circle it. And Frank's going to start at 5. I need Frank to take how many jumps? Yep, I need Frank to take 2 jumps, so we're going to take them together. Here we go. 1, 2. So if I bring us a little bit closer, remember I used the blue pencil this time, so I started at 5. Frank took 2 jumps, 1, 2, and ended at 7. So our answer of 5 plus 2 equals 7. Nice job. So what I'm going to do now, since we've done some questions together, is I'm going to do the same thing as in the last video. I have some questions for you to work on your own. You can pause the video so you have time to write down all your questions, and then you'll need to make your own number line to help you answer the questions. Ooh, wrong paper. Here we go. So pause the video so you have a minute to write down all the questions, and then you can come back to the end of the video if you want to find the answers. All right, well, I hope you had fun trying out those questions. I'm going to hold up the paper now that tells you all the answers. You can pause it again and check your answers. If you got something wrong, no big deal. You can just try it again. There we go. So pause it. Take a second to look at your answers. Make sure you got the same ones. And great job, K1. We've now learned 2 different ways to do addition. Today we were doing addition on a number line.